Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In the past couple of weeks, me and my friends have been playing an SMP called Nexore. In this video, we will go into depth about the events that unfolded during my time playing on this SMP. However, before the actual video starts, I'd like to quickly mention that my channel recently hit 200 subscribers, and I'd like to thank all of you for subscribing and helping me to reach this milestone. So let's get into the video. For the past couple of weeks, my friends Kakashi, I Play Games, Gaming Gangster, and myself have been playing on an SMP called Nexore 3, which is a semi-vanilla, semi-anarchy server. Gaming found this server, and being the person I am, we immediately started plotting a server takeover, where we basically declare war on everyone. However, things didn't exactly go as smoothly as we expected, because a couple of hours into the server, an admin found us whilst Kakashi and I were mining. Obviously, we were skeptical, as anyone should be, considering this is a PvP and griefing server. It turns out he didn't mean us any harm and actually gave us plenty of diamonds, more than enough to start our journey. For several hours we travelled in search of a jungle, even going to 35,000 just to find one. Long story short, we managed to expose 3 admins for abusing creative mode, but we knew there were more. Unfortunately, I didn't get much footage from that first week on the SMP, so let's get to the good stuff, the fighting. Fast forward about a week, Kakashi and I had managed to obtain the owner's base coords. After a long nether travel, we arrived there. As you can see in this clip here, one of the first things we see upon arrival at the base is a command block which is only obtainable through Game Mode Creative. We later discovered that the admin who gave us diamonds earlier on our journey was the person who made it. He was one of the admins that we got banned for admin abusing as well. Kakashi presses the button after some consideration and gives me all the clear to come through. Obviously, our first intentions were to grief and steal from the base. In the distance, I see a large structure in the sky, so I flew over to it to find harming arrows and overpowered items in the dispensers on the large obsidian structure. I mine in, and to my surprise, I see at least 20 fully maxed out netherite armor sets on armor stands. I tell Kakashi to come over and take a look. At this point, we were kind of shocked, but at the same time a little disappointed from how much the admins really did abuse creative mode. Kakashi and I bag the loot and fly off to the next structure. This one was not new to us, because Kakashi and I had seen these structures earlier on our journeys, even one at our old jungle base. These structures were also spawned in using a structure block, which obviously is Game Mode Creative. They also had overpowered loot in them. Here is the clip of Kakashi and I picking up some loot from the ship we saw earlier. Here is when we grief the base. Enjoy. Now I'd like to take this time to explain that we stole all this TNT from ships and admin abuse structures, and a good chunk of our loot was stolen from those structures. However, we did take the time to get our tools and foundation loot like food, arrows, water buckets, etc. And our friend I Play Games went completely inactive some time before we griefed the owner's base for unknown reasons. Here we found a player head, which we thought was pretty funny, so of course we took that with us and proceeded to grief everything else. We had tons of fun doing this. A couple days after, Gaming spontaneously joined the VC, then joined the SMP after a short period of being inactive. Gaming had started placing TNT in our base and was acting very suspicious. Right now, Kakashi and I were panicking because there were some very valuable items in our houses, which is the house you can see Gaming placing TNT in right now. We were critting him out, trying to kill him before he does anything serious to the house. But unfortunately, Gaming managed to blow everything up. Then Gaming combat logged. Kakashi and I were extremely discouraged, but we wanted revenge, so we started constructing an obby trap for him once he logged back on. The place you see here is our potato/XP farm, which Gaming also blew up. We convinced Gaming to log back on so that we could get our retribution, but he pearl glitched out of the trap, so we quickly mined towards him. Kakashi and I get him in a confined space and start critting him out whilst he was chugging apples and trying to get away. We later found out that Gaming was actually doing this to gain the trust of Duckmaster, the owner, our enemy. Next day, while I was AFK, the owner and his gang decided to start an attack. Here you can see arrows fly past me. Luckily, Kakashi, who was not AFK, was standing right next to me, so we began to 5v1 Duckmaster and his goons. Duckmaster starts attacking me whilst I'm still AFK. It took him over 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna edit the clip, but he ended up killing me whilst Kakashi was distracted fighting his goons. One of which was already eliminated, leaving 4 out of 5 people left to kill. Unfortunately, I don't have Kakashi's POV here, so here are the clips of me being killed with no armor several times during the fight. I managed to get back on my feet and join Kakashi in the fight. I would also like to mention that Gaming Gangster was a double agent for us, so at the time in this clip, there were 2 out of 4 people remaining, not counting gaming. Here is when Dockmaster realized that he was being owned, so he backed off a little bit. Now it was just Dockmaster fighting because all of his friends were killed. Dockmaster and his goons regrouped and re-geared for another fight. I'll stop talking for a bit and enjoy the fight. After Kakashi and I absolutely dominated them again, we realized that several of the goons were using harming arrows, which were actually illegal, so the battle was won for now. After some planning, Gaming decided that in order to strengthen Dockmaster's trust in him, we decided to do a little fake fight. One of Dockmaster's goons spontaneously flies in and tries to yank some non-existing loot, which was an extremely simple-minded idea, and he instantly got killed by Kakashi and his strength. We blew up his stuff with TNT along with the fake base we had made. Here is where we find their hideout, which was quartz given to us by Gaming. An underground ship spawned in through creative mode. Kakashi, Gaming and I griefed it without hesitation. This is a clip Gaming sent me of Dockmaster making the ship. As you can see, Dockmaster and one of his goons are using short skins, which Dockmaster himself admitted to using it to get an advantage in PvP. Bear in mind, the ship that we griefed contained all the spawn points of Dockmaster and his friends. Unfortunately, Dockmaster made an alt account and tricked us into giving him information, which led up to nothing that really benefited him too much. A considerable amount of time after iPlayGames logged on, and in spirit of planning for another battle, we completely hollowed out a mountain and filled it with TNT. This wasn't taken too seriously, but we went through with it. to get Duckmaster and his friends to go over to the TNT mountain and get blown up, and hopefully the TNT would kill off some of his friends. This was before we knew that Duckmaster had an ult, by the way. At some point during the battle, I picked up an overpowered axe, presumably made by one of Duckmaster's friends. Not only were they admin abusing, but now we had proof that they were also hacking. We all laughed for a little while about the ridiculous overpowered axe. This is a short time lapse of gaming and I Play Games making a house to make the TNT mountain look a little more convincing. One of us jokingly placed TNT, which ended up actually igniting, so we ran as quickly as we could. I tried to put my elytra on and fly away, but it was way too laggy. Luckily, no one died during the explosion because they were far enough away. Unfortunately, the day after this, all 4 of us were banned for blackmailing an admin, which never actually happened. Then they declared themselves the winners of the war. In summary, the owner was a complete douchebag, and part of the reason this video was made is to expose this SMP, especially the owner. I'd also like to mention that the owner encouraged one of his teammates to send gore through to us in Discord DMs. He then proceeded to make the excuse that I only thought he'd send porn and not gore, even though we had seen screenshot proof of him saying otherwise. He then proceeded to ban the guy for doing something that Duckmaster himself asked him to do. Also, shortly after the first battle we had, Duckmaster flew away mid-battle, therefore by technicality of his own rules, combat logging. Duckmaster deleted all evidence on his Discord server exposing him for what he actually did, and banned all 4 of us. They reset the SMP and changed their name to EchoCraft. I highly recommend not joining, as it's a really toxic environment and just not fun due to the admin abuse. For those people who stuck around to the end of the video, thanks a lot. This is probably one of my longer videos, and I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and sub, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.